Shred Nation, this episode is presented by my friends at Quivers in Huntington Beach, and that means that I'm going to give this Channel Islands Peregrine that you see in this episode to them so that any of you who are Quivers members in Huntington Beach can surf it for yourself. For more on Quivers' monthly membership that lets you surf any of the boards you want in their quiver, visit surfboardquivers.com or find them at 1611 Alabama Street in Huntington Beach. Shred Nation, today I'm gonna make this episode short and I'm gonna try to make it impactful because I'm sick, and as much as I would love to wait a few days to film this board, my schedule demands that I do it today. And I'm gonna try something new. I'm gonna try to pack 4 boards into one episode, and you're gonna be the judge of whether it's useful or not, so tell me in the comments down below. The dimensions on this Peregrine are 6'4" by 20 by 2 and 9/16, and if you were to look at a 6'4" black and white, you would also see that the dimensions on that board are 6'4" by 20 by 2 and 9/16. So Peregrine, black and white, same dimensions. What's the difference? Well, aside from some subtle differences in the rocker and the outline curve, the main thing that would cause you to notice a difference between how the two boards surf is these channels on the Peregrine. Now, you already know that channel bottoms on a surfboard are commonly thought to make a surfboard go faster, especially in glassy conditions where there's no chop, because of how these channels can help create lift and forward motion as they travel across a smooth surface. But what I want to get into now is that these channels are straight, and if you look up close at the edges of how they are shaped into the board, you can imagine how each channel sort of acts like a fin that has a really long base, but basically no height to it at all. So what does that mean for your surfing? Well, one of the things that we know about fins is that when they have a long base, they create more drive. So if you have really strong legs, you can go into a turn and push on that really wide base fin and grind through the whole thing without ever slipping out, no matter how hard you're pushing on it. Think about Taylor Knox's surfing, for example. Now, channel bottoms can give you the same sort of opportunity. You can find yourself maybe being able to test your ability as a on-rail surfer by going into your turns more confidently, knowing that you can just push as hard as you want, put all your strength into it, because channel bottoms are going to let you do very powerful gouging turns if you've got the skill to do so, and you're less likely to lose control and slide out. Now, the first time that I ever saw this board was early last year. I was in a glassing shop in San Diego, and I was very hyped to see some of these that were being made for Channel Islands sponsored riders. I think they were for the Coffin Brothers, and there might have been one for Lakey Peterson or Sage Erickson. And on those boards, these channels continued all the way out the tail of the board. Those boards did not go flat in the tail like this one does. For example, here you can see Britt Merrick holding one of Dane Reynolds' Peregrines, and the channels kick all the way out the tail. It does not go flat in the tail like these ones in retail. So why did they make these changes to the board? I have no idea, but what might it mean for your surfing? Well, when you talk to surfers who don't like channel bottoms, they commonly say that they're too directional and want to just go in a straight line. Those surfers might say that they don't whip around quickly enough, like it takes too much work to get them off of a straight line and initiate a turn. Well, releasing this board to the public with that flat area off the end of the tail could make this an easier, less intimidating board to get on for your average surfer, because you can feel what it's like surfing a board with channels without having some of that straight line stickiness that would come with having the channels kick all the way out the tail. So to bring this home, if you're trying to decide between a Peregrine or a black and white, you would probably notice that the main difference between how these two boards surf under your feet is the channels in this board, and it would probably make the Peregrine feel more oriented towards down the line surfing and big turns on the shoulder, particularly in point breaks or on long walls. The black and white may feel a little bit more traditional in the way that it breaks out of turns sooner or has a bit more slide and release to it in the lip, and it may feel a little bit more inclined to go down and back up in the pocket and a little bit less inclined to want to rock it down the line. I also think both boards are accessible for surfers from intermediate to advanced level, but I think they both might be better choices for surfers who are not yet advanced and more in that intermediate or intermediate to advanced range than, say, the Rook 15 or the Girabbit. Both of those two boards are narrower and the rails are more foiled down. They're not as full, which means that they would feel more sensitive to the ways that you shift your weight from rail to rail. That means if you're a talented surfer, you can hit transitions very quickly going from one rail to the other. But for someone who's not that talented, it can create opportunities to mess up and you're more likely to fall. So to wrap this up, all four boards are very high performance short boards and designed with the help of Dane Reynolds and Jordy Smith and the rest of Channel Islands team. I think that all four boards would excel most in waves about chest or shoulder high up to 2 or 3 feet overhead. I would say lean towards the Peregrine if you want to focus on rail surfing and down the line speed, and lean towards the black and white if you want something a little bit more versatile or with more up and down in the pocket action. Maybe something that would feel more slidey or pivoty. Then if you're really a ripper, check out a Rook 15 because that board has the most tail rocker curve in it and nose rocker curve. Then if you're somewhere in between intermediate and advanced and want to feel what Jordy Smith feels, look into a Girabbit. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Girabbit. Shred Nation, that is it for this episode. If you're surfing a Rook 15, a Girabbit, a Peregrine, or a black and white, tell us what you think in the you already know where. We'll see you soon on... This episode was presented by Fanatic.com, which is the only place you can find the still unreleased Tech 2 honeycomb fins from Channel Islands in both Futures and FCS compatible 2-tab. So how does Fanatic work? Well, you just choose the different fin sets that you want to surf, then rank all of your fin choices, and then receive one of them in the mail, which you can surf for as long as you want to until you mail them back to Fanatic and receive another one of your fin choices just a few days later. It's that easy to have an unlimited fin quiver with Fanatic because their basic membership is just $9.99 a month, and you can get your first month for free by entering promo code SHRED. That's SHRED. You can cancel anytime, so it's risk-free at Fanatic.com.